I'm Rhiannon Gonzales, and you're watching Max Loves Midland.
Welcome back to the Max Loves Midland Show. I'm your weekly tour guide, Kevin LaDuke. And the purpose of Max Loves Midland is to align people, information, and momentum around a shared community vision and priorities so that Midland County becomes a place people visit, stay, thrive, they want to be in. Much like our guest today, Rhiannon Gonzales is here with us today. So Rhiannon is a huge advocate for the Great Lakes Bay region. And also, I know you're a huge hockey fan, so that's why I threw on the hockey vest today.
I love it. Thank you so much. I'm so honored.
You're welcome. This is an unofficial basketball podcast. I think from the beginning, we found a way to somehow bring up basketball every single episode, but I figured, the Wings are in a playoff push right now. The Pistons are in a playoff push. Mm-hmm. We've got Tigers coming up. It's going to be a true April in the D, which we haven't had in a really long time. So really excited about that. So I know you said the Wings get a little cold around March. So
March in Hockeytown is what every fan kind of they brace for impact for. But you know what? I will be a diehard Red Wings fan forever and ever and ever. So whatever they do, I'm okay if I'm disappointed, but hopefully I'm not.
Some of those early childhood memories for me were gathering around the TV, watching some early Stanley Cups. So I'm excited too. It's going to be fun to actually be able to switch between a few playoff series, hopefully. Yeah. I mean, I know there's a long way to go. I think the Pistons are a shoe into the playoffs at this point. The Wings, though, a lot of things can happen in the NHL. So we're going to keep our eyes peeled.
Yeah, but, I'm here for it.
So have you made it out to any Spirit games this year at all?
Oh, yeah. Yep. I am a frequent flyer at the Dow Event Center for the Spirit. So going to we only have a couple more games until we're also in a playoff push right now. We haven't clinched it yet. So we're hoping. And yeah, love my Spirit for sure.
Dow Event Center is one of those cool regional assets that we don't talk about enough. And we haven't really mentioned on this show too much either. We focus a lot on what we have here in Midland. But I think it's really cool today because you're going to talk a lot about the region, even though you are specifically an ambassador for Midland. So let's get right into it here. So Go Great Lakes Bay. You guys are pointing people to these type of places, and you are trying to get people to visit our community. Places like the Dow Event Center, places like Dow Diamond, which is going to be rocking here shortly with Loons Baseball. So what exactly is your role over at the Go Great Lakes Bay?
Yeah, so you touched on it already. So I am the Midland Destination Ambassador, but that doesn't mean that I focus solely on Midland. Like, I'm here for the needs of all of our community partners in our region. But I am the one that oversees the daily operations at the Midland Visitor Center. So that's where you'll catch me throughout the week. Right there on Main Street next to Grazie is our visitor center. And I'm sure that there are people watching, listening right now that didn't even know that we had a Midland Visitor Center. So love to see you, stop on in. And find out what makes our region so amazing and what there is to do, see, stay, eat, play in our region. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to let the potential visitors know what's going on, present visitors that are staying here, but also just our residents too. Definitely explore what's in your backyard. And there are still things that I haven't done in our region, and I've lived here my whole life. So there's always something to discover.
I think people would recognize your branding if they saw it. They might recognize the billboards as you're going down I-75. They might recognize the logo, but a lot of folks don't understand that Convention and Visitors Bureau is here to service our community as well as visitors, let alone understand that there is a cool little outpost in downtown Midland where Rhiannon is sitting, and she's there to help you out and point you in the right direction of things. So you walk in, there's a bunch of different pamphlets and things to do, and that's got to be a lot of fun. You get to really be an advocate for this place.
Yeah, I mean, I get a mix of both. Like, I get visitors that will come into the region looking for, what to do, but I also get people, oh yeah, lived here forever. I didn't know that this was here. And I'm telling them things that you have that light bulb moment of, wow, I've lived here. I haven't done that. So, as much as Go Great Lakes Bay wants to, promote tourism into our region, at the end of the day, we're here for the residents too, because tourism only helps where you live. And the residents are really the ones that are responsible for bringing those travelers here. They're the ones that are owning the businesses that people want to come to. They're the ones that are talking about why they love where they live. So the residents are definitely just as important to us. The locals are the ones that make it happen.
So you specifically service Midland County here. Well, I'm sure you assist across the board in servicing the entire organization, but what is the region to go Great Lakes Bay?
Yeah, so we define the Great Lakes Bay region as Midland County, Saginaw County, and Bay County, and then all the cities that, fall within there. So with the tourism lens, of course, like Frankenmuth is a, huge tourist spot, and that technically is within Saginaw County. So there's Frankenmuth, Birch Run is another tourism destination with the outlets there and all of the cool things they've got going on. Chesaning is, one that's got a great, some great like hometown feels to it. So all of the cities that fall within those 3 counties.
Super cool. And most people don't even understand when you're checking into a hotel, and this is statewide, correct? There's a little tax on there. Is it an occupancy tax or something? Like, I'm not really even sure how this works. I went to school for communications. I'm not doing math. Percentages are out the window. But that occupancy tax actually supports a visitors bureau for, every single area has one that is there to kind of respond to needs, right?
Yeah, and that's when I'm explaining to people what Go Great Lakes Bay is, if they don't understand what a CVB is, or you'll also hear DMO, which is Destination Marketing Organization.
Love that. We hate acronyms around here.
Well, I'm the wrong guest for you then, because it's an industry full of acronyms, let me tell you. But when I'm explaining it just to try to like make it click into their minds, I'll be like, what it is, you just don't know what it is. When you're traveling around the state, visit Detroit, experience Grand Rapids, Traverse City Tourism. Those are all Convention and Visitors Bureaus. Of course, they're for one city because, they're huge, they're bigger cities than what we have. So we're just a regionalized Convention and Visitors Bureau. So, that little annoying occupancy tax that you pay at a hotel room, that goes back to the CVB and helps us do what we do. And again, everything we do is for the resident in way of the traveler, but it comes back to strengthen the community.
Awesome. Yeah, you mentioned Visit Detroit. Visit Detroit actually sponsors Burnley Football Club in the English Premier League. So their practice jerseys will say Visit Detroit. And I'm like, man, like what is going on here? I don't think Go Great Lakes Bay. I mean, we don't have that much population here, but maybe one day, right?
Maybe
that's
we
the
can
goal
make
of
it
this
happen.
show. Because one day we're going to sponsor a Premier League team.
Yes,
so.
that was your goal this entire time.
Absolutely,
really.
yeah. It's just to make sure that we go global with this. So, I mean, you already touched on it a little bit, but you've talked about this idea that when you build a place people want to visit, you also build a place people want to live. Can you explain that concept a little bit more? Yeah,
so that is called the Community Vitality Wheel. And I'm a big, like graphics type person. Like when things are explained in a very simplistic way that just clicks, I'm all here for it. So, when you build a place where people want to visit, you've built a place where they want to live. I mean, how many of us have, traveled somewhere and we're like, oh my gosh, I want to move here. I hear it all the time. I truly do. In the visitor center, I hear, I want to move here, or, oh yeah, my parents are, thinking about it, or things like that. So it's definitely there. And when you've built a place that they want to live, you've built a place where then they want to work, keep everything close by. When you have a place where there's a lot of people who are wanting to work there, that's a place where businesses want to invest. They want to create jobs there. They want to invest and put businesses there. And then, of course, in a place where there's a lot of, investment and businesses want to be there, you've created a place where people want to visit. And it all just works in this like perfect little synergistic wheel. And that's the work that we do. We want them to want to visit here. So that way it kicks off that vitality wheel and, again, just strengthens our area.
And tourism does matter to a place. Yeah. So I read a lot of things where people be like, why do we care so much about downtown? Or, that's kind of the front porch of our community. We're inviting people into our space and saying, look at what we have to offer. A lot of times that's that entry-level position. So when you have people visiting the Visitors Bureau and they're coming in and having a conversation with you, what are some of the places that they bring up most often?
Definitely Dow Gardens is a huge attraction.
Their visitors come from everywhere too.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And again, I'm sure a lot of people don't know this either, but that's the nation's longest canopy walk. The nation. So the whole nation the longest canopy walk is right in our backyard. Like, that's cool. That's
amazing.
That's very, very fun.
It's super awesome.
So yeah, we love, they love coming there. The Alden B Dow Home and Studio is, incredible, first off, but just that mid-century modern architecture anyway is really like a draw for travelers. So not being able to not only see all of them throughout Midland scattered around, but tour such a popular name within that. Like, I tell people all the time, I'm like, he studied with Frank Lloyd Wright. Like, there you'll see the similarity, but to see the inner workings of it, the studio and the home, people love there too. And of course, people are coming here for Loons games and Midland Center for the Arts. Like, that's I think when you live here or you grow up here, you are kind of softened to the fact that that's a huge pull for this region. But to get traveling like Broadway shows and all of the different symphonies and things that come, and it's in this mid-Michigan area, and that's a little bit more accessible to some people versus like Grand Rapids or Detroit. Like, it's cool, man. You got to think it's cool.
And it's concentrated within a few miles. Yeah. So every spot that you just mentioned is pretty darn close to one another near downtown Midland.
Yeah.
If you look over at the Center for the Arts, it's just this incredible place, and it's a unique building itself, and they're undergoing tons of changes right now. I'm really looking forward to hang out there when that's completely done. And they bring in large shows, and it's right next to Dow Gardens, which is undergoing a lot of changes as well. So you're seeing that visitor center go up there. So really excited to visit that when it goes up and it's finished with its opening.
Yeah.
And then right behind there, you're looking at the Alden B Dow Home and Studio, which is just incredible. But beyond the Alden B Dow Home and Studio, if you check out the Mid-Century Modern Midland app, you can find all sorts of structures around our community.
I tell people about the app all the time. I have it on my phone, so like when they ask about it, I'll pull it up on my phone and I'm like, look at this driving tour that you could take. And I love that it has like an overview one, but then it also concentrates on certain streets. So if you can't go drive around Midland all day. But yeah, definitely telling people about that too.
Super cool app. They won an award for that app, and my buddy Lance built the app, who is also from Midland, or he lives in Midland, but he's also from Beaverton, and that's just cool. I filmed the introduction of that app years ago over at the Center for the Arts, and then obviously we talk about Dow Diamond on the show all the time. I go to tons of Loons games. It's my favorite place in town. So we just have so much cool stuff here. But honestly, throughout this entire region, you can go explore so many different places. And I know you talked about being a tourist, and recently you kind of did that even in areas you're kind of familiar with. You went over to the planetarium in Bay City. And
I hadn't been to the planetarium since I was a kid in school, and I went and watched a show about the Northern Lights, and went into the antique shops, which I love to just poke around there because it's always a fun time. Went over to Intermission Deli and grabbed lunch there. Went and got way too much candy at St. Laurent Brothers.
How could you not?
I know, but yeah, when you think about looking at it through that lens of being a tourist in your hometown, like when you're out of town or you're on a trip or a vacation somewhere, the first thing you do is researching.
Yeah,
you're researching what to do, where to go, where to stay, different things like that, and if you do that in a place that you are living right now, I guarantee you there's going to be places you haven't been. Or again, like for me, you haven't been since you were a child, and you're exploring and you're rediscovering. And I just think that's so cool.
Super awesome. And you've always lived in this region. So I know that you're originally from Saginaw. You spent some time in Freeland. You graduated high school in Hemlock. You ended up going to Saginaw Valley State University.
Go Cards.
There you go. You've lived here. So, I mean, this whole region is really important to you.
Yeah.
But when you were living in Hemlock and you were going to high school in Hemlock, Midland was kind of your big town as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if we wanted to do anything, it was going into Midland or Saginaw, but Midland, I had a lot of friends that lived, out in like the Poseyville kind of area. So of course that just happened. That means we go into Midland. And yeah, when you live in a place where it's spaced out, and agriculture is obviously like the main kind of thing out there, farmed, fields, all that, anything seems bright and shiny and big to you. So yeah, Midland was, and I know you've said it before too, like it was the big city. That's how it was for us too. That's always where we were, going to the mall and going to the movies and, just bebopping around because we were teenagers and had nothing else to do.
So when you're going to SVSU, I know there is this intrinsic pressure as a high schooler, and it doesn't always come from external sources, but internally you kind of want to get out and go. And I also went to SVSU, stayed pretty close, thought it was a great decision. But when you were balancing that, what ultimately made you decide, I'm going to stay here and this is my place?
Yeah, I had the mentality for sure that I think every teenager goes through of, I want to be anywhere but here. Parents are bugging me, like home, arguments and stuff. And, I want to get out. And so I didn't know what I wanted to study for up until really, really late in the game. I toured MSU and Grand Valley and, really, I did really fall in love with those campuses and had the, shiny dreams of the dorm room and the, going, being there with friends and again, no parents anywhere and stuff. But when it came time to really be like, okay, you got to, really make a decision and stuff. And I'm pretty sure I did apply to both of those schools and got in as well. But, I applied to SVSU, of course. And when the time came to make the decision, it was, I don't want to leave. I don't want to move away. I won't say that I put roots down really easily, but I put down really hardy roots. And my relationship with, my family, my mom, my grandparents, my friends that I had that were staying around here, it wasn't, I thought about it and really kind of thought like, I don't think that I can move away. I don't think that I will thrive being away from my support system.
It's that community stickiness that kind of keeps you in a place.
Yeah.
And when you feel that, you just feel intrinsically drawn to it and you realize that's home.
Yeah.
And that's where you want to be at. And I know prior to getting into your career with Go Great Lakes Bay and even prior to working at the H Hotel, you were working a lot of retail jobs. I know you said Route 21. I know you mentioned Bath and Body Works. We shared war stories. I used to work at Best Buy, Finish Line, Champs, both Saginaw, Midland area, all the way around. Hat World was my first job.
Yes.
So all of that fun stuff. And much like me, you were confronted with this crisis of, okay, well, retail looks a specific way. Stores are condensing, closing down.
Yeah.
We both, I closed down the Finish Line and then you closed down the Route 21 that went up in its place. So things turn over in that industry very fast and you have to make decisions. Do I want to move to a much larger populated area or do I just want to go where the company needs me at with demands?
Yeah.
And it kind of becomes this battle of what's the organization that's going to be that keeps you here. And we're very happy that H Hotel was the spot. Because then you ended up in Midland. You became a huge asset for us here. So let's talk about your transition over to the H Hotel and what you really learned in the hospitality industry.
Yeah. Exactly what Kevin said. A lot of war stories with retail. And anybody who has worked retail knows. So if that's my plug for any of this, be nice to service workers.
Absolutely.
Please. But yeah, I kind of went through different bouts of wanting to get out of retail and then, the status quo just was easier. So then I stayed and then I started looking again and it was kind of back and forth for a lot of years, but experiencing retail through COVID lens, opening stores back up after COVID and working there, it really started to weigh on me. And I don't enjoy not being happy. I think I like to be a pretty positive.
Oh, shocker. I think, that might be a uniform piece here. We all kind of want that. We're all looking for that.
Yeah, I don't enjoy being in a bad mood. So going to work and being in a bad mood before you even step foot in the door was, finally I'm like, something's got to give and change. So again, I was looking, but I didn't know where to look. When you're in retail, especially at a management level, that's all you know. Those are the only people that you know. And unfortunately, retail management was paying the bills at the point. So I also couldn't afford to, kind of go backwards. My best friend, Allison, was, she had worked at the culinary department at the H, and her husband was working at the culinary department as well, or in the restaurants. And she kind of calls me up one day and she goes, "Hey, they're looking for a group sales manager. I think you should apply." And at first I kind of scoffed at her because I'm like, I'm not qualified for that. I was like, no, I don't know anything about hotels. And she, kind of yelled at me in the way that only a best friend can, where she's like, "No, you're dumb. You need to apply. Like you can do this. It's you have the qualifications." So, I applied and ended up taking that position at the H. And within probably weeks of being there, I'm like, this world is it. This is what didn't know what I was looking for, but this is what I was looking for.
How did that really teach you about tourism and the impact of tourism on an area? Because the H is an anchor spot to visit in terms of important hotels in our area.
Yeah. So with what I did at the hotel, my job was to bring in large group business. And what that means is like large blocks of hotel rooms. That's really the moneymaker in the hotel world. And so whether that be through like, different like associations type thing, like, government business or, meetings, conferences, church retreats, like anything that had a large block of hotel rooms attached to it, was what I was responsible for. So I'm learning just how important that is. And this is coming from someone who had zero knowledge about hotels. Like I thought hotels were just there for the transient traveler. Like that's where you stayed when, you were out of town or you were catching a concert somewhere, or, going away for a weekend. Being open or getting my eyes opened to the business behind hotels and what makes them click and work was very just mind blowing. So I'm starting to realize like, oh no, like we want a massive amount of people to come to this area and to this hotel. And, of course, the type of businesses that I were booking was, multi-day conferences or, multi-day anything. So I'm starting to get the seed planted about like, oh, this, tourism thing does kind of matter. So.
And then when Go Great Lakes Bay comes along, I know you're not looking for a new job at that point in time. And most of the time, that's when the best jobs come along. Nothing against the H Hotel, but it felt like something you had to go do.
Yeah. Because of what I did at the hotel, I did meet a lot of people at the CVB, just because they're essentially doing the same thing that I'm, doing, but on a bigger scale. So I knew the director of meetings and conferences because her and I are going to the same, types of trade shows and events trying to bring business back. Of course, she's trying to bring it back to anywhere in the region. I'm trying to bring it back to just the specific place. But, the director of like motor coach tours, like that's another huge piece of, business that is great for hotels. I knew her because, we'd chat about different things here and there for groups that she had coming in. Tim Shelton, our director of sports tourism, he worked at the H. So when I met him, like there is also that little link right there. So I was meeting a lot of people that worked at the CVB. They reached out and were like, "Hey, we have this position." And, kind of the same thing. I'm like, "No, I'm not really looking. That's not what I do. Like I do sales, blah, blah, blah." But I'm also not the person to, kind of turn away at opportunity. Like I'm at least going to give it the thought that it deserves. It's worthwhile to at least check it out, ask some questions, think about it. And, knowing that it was the Midland Ambassador position, I was also starting to put some roots down in Midland. The H is part of the MBA, so I was going to those events. I had joined My Pros, the Midland Young Professionals, while I was at the H, and so I'm starting to slowly kind of create a little bit of a Midlandy life. And so I thought about it, and here we are.
I think you've definitely created a Midlandly life at this point. And you mentioned My Pros, Midland Young Professionals, and now you've recently became an ambassador for that particular group as well. can you just talk about MyPros and the role it played for you in our community as a young professional?
Yeah, I'm not a shy person, so I don't normally have like any issues like meeting like people like in my personal life, like getting, like gaining friends and things that way. But joining MyPros was so great because I was brand new in an industry that I had no idea about. So I met so many people like, that worked at other hotels in the region. We always joked and called ourselves like the Midland Hotel girls because we were all doing like sales for the hotels here. So like I'm meeting them, I'm getting to like bounce ideas off them. But I'm also like the H was my first kind of, again, non-retail job. So it was where I was seeing myself as like, okay, this hospitality tourism thing, this is what I want to make as my career, not just as a job. So joining MyPros was just so great because I'm getting to meet so many other people in their careers and what they love doing. And it's just been invaluable. So, going to the events that, are getting put on through MyPros, like, it starts to kind of cross over into your social life a little bit. And so it's been great.
And speaking of being social, a lot of times when you're out in the community being social, you're not always alone. There's usually a little sidekick with you. Do you want to talk a little bit about your little friend here for us?
So Kevin is talking about Paris, which is my Chihuahua. And she's my very best friend, the love of my life. And during the warmer months when she can actually tolerate it, she's down, we're out at the patio at Three Bridges drinking with friends, or, I'm taking
Paris is drinking with friends?
Well, she wants to be. She doesn't need it. Trust me. She doesn't need any extra sass in her. But, I'll take her down by the Tridge and we'll sit at, the picnic tables and she'll just like sniff for days outside. She loves being outside. I try to include her in whatever I can just because, she's getting older. Like she's, needs some good memories.
She's also a seasoned ambassador of Midland.
Yeah. We joked for MyPros that we need to start the My Pups.
Yes.
Because we have a couple other people who bring their dogs to things. So
I think you could actually get that off the ground.
You know what? We're going to. Here's
the big unveil here on this week's Max Loves Midland Show.
My Pups.
My Pups coming to a Midland near you, where the MyPros members are going to get together with their pups. Mm-hmm.
But truthfully, and not, like bringing it back to, I tell people all the time about all the pet-friendly places that you can take your dog, when they're here. Like, again, I want to take her wherever I can. So, we'll go into City Forest and do some stuff there, walk around there. Or I tell people all the time because they don't know, because I didn't know until recently, that all of the Little Forks Conservancy preserves you can bring your dog to.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know that. So again, I'm constantly learning things. I love learning about where we live. I want to pass that on to other people too.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of where we live, I'm going to challenge you a little bit. We're going to go through a day in Midland.
All right.
And I want you to kind of plan a day. And Josh, back there, we're going to do this a little bit differently this week. So I'm going to look directly into this Lumix. I'm going to deliver an intro, and then Rhiannon's going to spring off all the places that she likes to go in Midland. And we're going to cut it right at the beginning of when I start talking, and we're going to cut it right at the end of her day, and then we're going to add some fun graphics to it, and we're going to see what kind of pop we can get online with this. So this is the first time doing this. So
I love it. I love being a guinea pig.
Are you looking to plan a day here in Midland, Michigan? Hey, Rhiannon, you want to tell them some of your favorite places here in town?
Chef Sergei's Bakery, Dow Gardens, Dahlia Hill, Vidu, Indian Lounge and Kitchen. That's what it's called. Bryn Star, Three Bridges, Midland Center for the Arts, Little Forks Conservancy, all their preserves that they have.
No stress. You can breathe. You can breathe.
This is like timed, right? The Midland Mall and what the mall is becoming is amazing. City Forest and walking around there is fun.
And last but not least, where are you taking your dog?
Everywhere that she can go. If my dog is allowed in your business, hit me up because we'll come to your business.
Awesome. Has Paris been to Nord Social yet?
No, she hasn't.
That is a dog-friendly spot.
Oh my gosh. I know. Once it's warmer, I promise. Yeah, she's coming.
Okay.
Yes.
So those are some of your favorite spots in Midland.
Yes.
So you're starting the day off at
Nord Social.
No, you're great. You're
spots.
totally good. You're totally good. So you're starting your morning off going to Sergey's. They're doing incredible business, and it's so dangerous right across from my office.
You're telling me working downtown. I was just telling Josh. Do you know how hard it is to not want to eat out every single day that you're down there,
all the best places.
Especially when the streets close. Like it's so hard. Love Chef Sergey's. So excited for their journey is still so new in Midland, but like I can just see it. I can see the years ahead and so proud of them.
Has that popped up as a tourist spot yet on your guys' radar? Or
yes, and it was because we did a episode with Under the Radar.
It was because of Natalia's episode of Max Loves Midland. No, I'm kidding.
It was.
I'm kidding. No, Under the Radar is fantastic.
Yeah. We actually kind of asked them for some stats after the Under the Radar episode premiered, and they were some good stats. So I definitely think that people are in this day and age craving authenticity and just realness, and especially at a level like that. So yeah, I tell people about them. I tell people about all of the amazing spots we have, because if there's one thing we are not short of here is some great coffee and some great bakeries. So trust you me, I'm telling the visitors about all of them.
So and you might know the answer to this, Under the Radar, did they specifically team up with convention and visitors bureaus when they're shooting their episodes, or is it just with you guys, or do you not understand their model overall?
I would hope they are.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I would guess they probably have, that's their go-to when they're making these shows.
I would assume so, yeah. But definitely for us, they're a great partner that we, every couple years, try to do another episode with. So yeah, if they're not using the CVBs, use them. And that goes for everybody too. Utilize the CVBs. When you're planning a trip, you're looking at where to start, look at that CVB, because their website is just a hub of information on, again, where to stay, where to go, what to do while you're there. So for those people who are just learning what a CVB or a DMO or again, one of the many acronyms.
Get out of here with these.
I'm telling you,
Convention and Visitors Bureaus.
You do not want to come to a meeting of ours. You're going to have your mind blown. But no, utilize your Convention and Visitors Bureau. It's just a wealth of knowledge.
Awesome. So as we begin to wind the episode down here, what are some ways that community members that are listening to this, we know our audience is primarily Midlanders already, how can they interact with the Visitors Bureau, or is there things they can do to help you out?
We already talked about being a tourist in your hometown, which I think is just so important. Be a champion of where you live. That is something that was taught to me very early in this world. And not only do I try to embody that professionally and with the work that I do, but personally as well. Love where you live and tell others why you love where you live. Because if you don't love it, I don't know how you're going to expect anybody else is going to love it. But again, residents are the ones that make tourism happen. When you're thinking about where you want to go and visit, hearing about why the people that live there love it is so, so valuable. So, be a champion of where you live and tell others why Midland and our surrounding areas are so great. And again, you'll also see it through just a different lens. Like I said, I like to be happy. I like to be I don't want to be negative all the time. That's just so draining. So when you just flip it around and love the place that, whether you grew up here or you live here now or whatever it may be, really radiate that positivity about where you live, because I promise it's going to come back to you with travel and with tourism, and with travel and tourism comes money into the where you live. So again, that synergistic wheel. So yeah, that's a great help to the Convention and Visitors Bureaus.
Awesome. Really maintaining that sense of community and being that advocate. It's funny you say love where you live. I don't know if you've ever read the book. I need you to read it. Love Where You Live. So Peter Kageyama is one of my favorite authors. Most of the show is based directly on that concept. So
I'm going to
definitely check it out.
Recommend
it to you. Recommend it to everyone. And we always end these episodes in the same exact way. We're always looking at the future of our community and our hopes and dreams for this place. So when you look at Midland in the next 15, 20, 25, 30, however many years you want to go down the road, What are some of the things that you are hoping for the future of this community?
I'm hoping that this community continues to be such a strong advocate for its businesses and for just have that sense of like neighborly camaraderie of like, if you don't thrive, then I don't thrive is really just a great way to go about it. And I think that Midland does such a great job of trying to make sure that things succeed. Whether that be in the businesses or, just in the way that it sustains itself. I'm not sure how to word it. I like seeing what's going on. I like seeing, like, I feel such a sense of community here, which is why I decided that I wanted to move back here. I feel it. Again, you only get what you give into it. So I think that people need to, again, love where you live and, be that champion. But I think that Midland does a really great job of having your back and I want to see that continue. I want to continue to see us like foster inclusivity, different businesses that are coming in, young professional businesses that are coming in. Like it can work. It can work. And I'm really excited to see in the next, few years where keeping this momentum, what that looks like in 10, 20, 30 years.
Awesome. So if this episode was the first time somebody learned a little bit about Go Great Lakes Bay, other than maybe driving past those giant billboards on I-75 that have beautiful the beautiful balloons from River Days, may I add?
Yes.
Oh yeah, you didn't mention the Santa house once. I am shocked. I am absolutely shocked.
I'm so sorry.
No,
I'm
you're
so
good.
sorry. I'm in a summer mind. I'm in a summer
mode.
mode.
There you go. You're trying to manifest it.
Oh, don't even get me started about Santa house. If you guys don't know me, Christmas is my jam, and I love the Santa house so much. Oh, just love.
I wasn't trying to bait that out of you, but I was just shocked it didn't come up.
Yeah, I know. I did. I was under pressure. Love Santa house.
Where can the people learn more about Go Great Lakes Bay if this was the first time they ever heard about it?
GoGreat.com for
Easy.
sure. It's filled with so much information about all the different cities within our region. Different like blog posts, how to spend a weekend in Midland, how to spend a, weekend with kids in Bay City and what to do when it's raining in Frankenmuth. Like we have great, stories on there, all the different information about businesses, but more so come see us, come into the visitor center. So again, downtown Main Street, Midland, that's where I'm at. Our Saginaw Visitor Center is in the Commerce Tower across from the Dow Event Center in Saginaw. And we are hopefully within this year, gonna knock on wood and cross my fingers for that. We'll have our Bay City Visitor Center opening in downtown Bay City. So stop in and talk to us. That's the best thing. I'll talk to you for an hour, so I apologize. You better clear out some time in your schedule because I'll talk to you for a long time. But yeah, visit the website, stop in. We'll give you all the information you need.
Well, fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us and teaching us
you.
a little bit more about Midland through your lens.
Yes, thank you so much.
Awesome. And thank you guys for joining us as well. We want to know about Midland through your lens. So if you are interacting with our events on our website, which we've had over 6,000, maybe 7,000, I don't even know. We're losing count now because so many people are adding things all of the time. You can really plan a day in Midland, and we want to see you post about that. So you can interact with us all over social media. Tag us on TikTok, tag us on Instagram. Make sure you're following us on YouTube. Make sure you're following us on Facebook. I know you're interacting with the show on Spotify. You're interacting with the show on Apple Podcasts. Maybe it's Amazon you're listening on. We are all over the place. So make sure you're following us in all of those places. A special shout out to JNC Media. We don't thank them enough. Every single episode is shot right here in the Ashman Plaza, right next to Live Oak. So if you're looking for some podcasts and some local things going on, check out. They are always making shows about everything Midland. So there's more than just Max Loves Midland to check out as well. So as we always end every episode, we appreciate you being with us. Max Loves Midland, the show when bridges don't work, we build bridges. So thank you very much. Subscribe wherever you consume media. Max Loves Midland is your entertainment, resources, and collective improvement hub for Midland County. Plan your next adventure in Midland at maxlovesmidland.com.